Hey, what's up guys? My name is Lauren Hardy and I am home here in Newport Beach, California. I am a virtual wholesaling coach with Wholesaling Inc. And I'd like to introduce you to the 12-part series that I originally put together for my students exclusively. But after a bunch of thought, I realized I want to make this available to everybody. So if you guys want to learn more about virtual wholesaling, I'm giving you a 12-video series that's going to be dropped weekly. If you guys want to follow along, like and subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram, This Mom Flips, so you don't miss when a new video drops. All right, so what is the #1 personality trait that I think is most important? Empathy. I bet you didn't think I was going to say that. I think empathy is so important in sales. I've read a ton of sales books. I've met a lot of salesmen in my life. And I have to say, I came up with this opinion when I met and started working with the best salesman I know. He actually happens to work on a team that I work with, and he is amazing. His close rate is usually 4 times the amount of his peers. I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't really know his secret sauce. But one day I was talking to him on the phone and it was a particularly rough day. I went through something, I was kind of frustrated about a situation, and he related to me and validated my feelings and mirrored my feelings so well. He wasn't selling me anything, he was just being empathetic. And it was right there I was thinking, gosh, this guy is the most empathetic person I've ever met. That is probably why he closes so many deals. I think empathy is the most important technique. It's the most important personality trait that you can have to dominate your sales, and especially in real estate. You see, a seller can sense when you're only out for yourself. When you're working real estate deals, you are dealing with sellers that are in a lot of different situations. A lot of them are really tough. A lot of the sellers have gone through something, or they're emotionally attached to this property. It could be their parents' home that they just inherited. They could be going through a lot of different scenarios. So today, I wanted to give you some ideas of how you can use empathy to come up with solutions to sellers who are in tough situations. These are the types of solutions that if you put in front of your seller, you are going to close that deal over your competition. The seller is going to pick you over the competition because you understand and have validated what they are going through. They now trust you, and you've also delivered them some options, some solutions to their problems to make life a little easier on them. And really, at the end of the day, a hassle-free sale is all they're looking for when they're selling to an investor. It is certainly not the highest price. If they wanted the highest price, then they would have to go through the hassle of selling it on the market. The reason they are even talking to you is because they want a hassle-free sale. So here are some ideas that have came across my desk. These are real things that I have done for sellers to make things easy on them, and it has made the sale go smoothly, and it's made the seller's life a lot easier. #1, say you get a house under contract and you notice it's full of stuff. The seller might be a hoarder. Sellers that have packed their house full of things and their house needs a ton of repairs are usually very embarrassed about the condition of their home. This is where you need to empathize with them and tell them that it's okay. You buy homes, like this all the time. You buy houses as is. They don't need to worry about fixing anything or cleaning anything. Make sure you really stress that, hey, no, this is nothing. This is like every house we buy. The seller is then going to not feel as embarrassed about the condition of their home and is maybe ashamed of themselves. Instead, they're going to feel comfortable around you. The other thing you can offer to do in a situation like this, when you have a home that is full of stuff, is you can tell the seller, hey, listen, if there is anything that you want to leave behind, I like to donate to the Salvation Army, or I can also, take some of this stuff and haul it away if you guys don't want it. We can donate the usable stuff and then we can haul away the other stuff. My contractor has a big dumpster anyway, so you just let me know what's trash and what we can donate. I've offered this to sellers quite a bit. It really does soften the sale for the seller when they don't have to think about how they're going to move all these items that they've collected. Because believe it or not, they don't want those items a lot of times. A lot of times it's just too overwhelming for them to move it out. Some of these sellers are older, they're not in good health, and so a big move is very hard for them. And in fact, it's probably why they have so many things in the home, is that it was hard for them to get rid of things just physically. So you offering to take that off of their shoulders is a huge help. And if you offer that and say your competition doesn't, well, think, who is the seller going to pick? The empathetic person who offered a solution, or the other person who just offered them a price? Another scenario that we see is sellers that are short on cash to move. So it's quite common when you're buying a owner-occupied home that the seller might need some cash to move. So what we've done in that scenario is we've actually released our earnest money deposit as a non-refundable earnest deposit. We release it about a week before escrow closes so they have the cash to move out. This is something that you want to be careful. You want to make sure you are under contract and you guys have signed all the paperwork. The sale is 100% ready to go. It's just a matter of them moving out. You can release your EMD. Understand that there might be some risks. The seller might not move and take your money, and you want to make sure you consult with an attorney to just make sure your contract has protected you in this. You would obviously really want to make sure that this deal was worth it. You wouldn't do something like this if the deal was slimmer in margins, but if this is a good deal and you have a really good feeling about it, and that EMD is something you are okay losing, if in the worst case the seller chooses not to move and becomes a headache for you, I advise do this. I am in a position where I can make things like this happen. Not everybody is, but if you are, this might have been something you might not have thought that you can do, but you can absolutely do it, and it'll help get the property vacant for you at closing, which is always the most ideal scenario for you. Another situation that comes up often is sellers have tenants that they're particularly attached to. I see this usually when a tenant has been there 10 years or more and they're paying under market rent. Usually this means that the seller is doing this tenant a favor. Maybe they're a family member or a friend, or that they've just built a relationship over the years with the tenant because the tenant's taken such good care of the property. If you see this happening, if you see that a tenant is in the property, they've been there longer than 10 years, and they are paying an under market rent, it is safe for you to assume that that seller has an attachment to that tenant. And one thing that I like to offer up is I let them know that, hey, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, I just want to let you know that we really do follow all the rules when we ask tenants to move. We give them X amount of days notice depending on your state. You need to make sure you know this. We offer them cash for keys. We offer them the full security deposit back as long as the house is in the condition that it's in right now. I mean, their security deposit doesn't really matter to me, so I'm going to offer it back. Really, in the end, the tenant ends up happier that we bought the property than some other guy. When the sellers hear that we are going to treat their tenant with respect, we're going to follow all the rules, we're not just going to throw them out, they get relieved and we get that deal over our competition. I usually will throw this type of line in the negotiation quite early on, as soon as I hear that the seller has a long-term tenant that's been paying under market rent. I usually know that that's what's going on. Another very unfortunate thing that we see a lot as investors is we get properties that have been inherited. So there was a death in the family. If you have one of these come across your desk, you need to make sure that you are channeling all the empathy you can. You need to make this sale as easy on the seller as you possibly can, offering anything that you can do to make their day brighter and to help them along the way. One example would be that you don't need to drag them to an escrow office. I'm not sure if you know this, but escrow offices can actually send mobile notaries with the closing paperwork to the seller's home. So the seller doesn't even have to leave the comfort of their own home. There are a lot of ways that we can make sales easy on sellers, and especially when there's a death in the family, I want you to focus on everything there. Make it as easy and hassle-free, because the seller does not need to worry about this sale. They need to worry about healing. That's it, guys. I hope you guys got something out of this video. Remember that empathy is super important, and really at the end of the day, we are in this business to help people. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to this channel. Find me on Instagram. My handle's thismomflips, and check out my coaching program, www.virtualinvestingmastery.com. Thanks.